Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday. So, I've spent the last couple hours watching Putin's end of the year press conference. Talk about a way to start your morning. Want to have some coffee? I've watched that one for a while. If you want to go watch it, I'll put the link below. It's in English, so it's translated, obviously, but you can watch it. But the, the funniest part about this is I just want to think about that. Want you to think about this. Putin will sit here for 4 or 5 hours answering questions from the press. Biden can't answer questions for 4 or 5 minutes from the press without sticking his foot in his mouth. Now, I'm no fan of Putin, don't get me wrong. But you got to give some respect for a guy who will sit up there. No handlers, no nothing around. He's just answering questions. And I know people will say, oh, he was given the questions ahead of time or whatever it would be. That's fine if he was given the questions ahead of time. Think about this, though. Are you going to memorize your answers for 4 to 5 hours worth of speaking? Okay. If Biden's handed the questions, okay, fine. He still can't get through answering a question if he's got a teleprompter, end of quote. But, okay, beside the point. What I want to talk about, though, is calming down a little bit for everybody. There are propagandists, is the only way I can put it, in the media, on the internet, on YouTube, whatever, trying to scare everybody. And I've said to you guys many times, remember, a lot of YouTubers are just concerned about clicks. The media, the alt media, guaranteed all they're concerned about is clicks, okay? And this is not an American phenomenon, okay? This is everywhere. The more flames you can throw out there, the more people are going to read it. And of course, we all know that. You see the articles that you and I will click on or whatever. It's like, oh my God, that's insane because of the headline or whatever it would be. Or, it's been talked about all the time on YouTube, oh, we'll put a thumbnail of a scantily clad woman on there and that will be, we'll get a bunch of clicks. And it works, okay? But, this is all bluster and no facts. So I'll give you this one. There was an article that was making the rounds yesterday, okay? And it said, Russian state television threatens the U.S. on Sunday and said it could be reduced to radioactive ash if the U.S. doesn't meet Russia's demands regarding Ukraine, okay? And this was out on the Gateway Pundit. This was reported on American Military News all over the place. I mean, that's pretty serious stuff when you say the U.S. could be reduced to radioactive ash. That's saying, supposedly somebody out of Russia is saying nuclear war, okay? So this is what it says. A Russian state television host threatened on Sunday that the U.S. could be reduced to radioactive ash if it does not meet the demands laid out by Russia for de-escalating tensions around Ukraine. Russia demanded that NATO should roll back military deployments in Eastern Europe and bar Ukraine and other post-Soviet nations from joining the alliance. News of the Week state TV host Dmitry Kiselyov went on a lengthy monologue about why the U.S. and NATO should meet Russian demands. Now, the key in that was who said this. News of the Week state TV host Dmitry Kiselyov. Not foreign minister, not, whatever, okay? This is, and I asked Mrs. P who this guy is, if she remembered him. She's like, oh yeah, this guy's one of the most hated people in Russia. This is like Joy Reid coming out and saying that the U.S. is going to nuke Russia, okay? There's zero credibility to it, and it's all bluster just to get clicks. Now, I've seen it here. in the US, where you have numerous people saying Russia is going to invade Ukraine on Christmas. You guys have probably seen that. Now, obviously, I don't have a red phone to the Kremlin, and I'm not talking to Vladimir Putin, and he hasn't told me directly. Okay, but I'm going to use a little bit of common sense and use a little bit of research and use a little bit of logic and go, if I could find a place to put a bet on this, I'm going to bet it's not happening. Okay, certainly not day after tomorrow. So, why do I say that? Okay. Now, there's no question whatsoever that both sides are tense. Let's put it this way. All right. There's stories that are coming out about the Ukrainians training with Javelin missiles, okay, anti-tank missiles. Those are good for, a couple of kilometers to take out a tank. No problem, okay. Javelins are not anything new. We've had them in the U.S. military arsenal for a long time, okay, but we've given them to Ukraine and did that back in 2018, so it's not like this is something new, okay. You've got everything going on. Like I said, this is all over Lugansk and all over Donetsk, so far eastern Ukraine, where the majority of the people there are Russian and want to be part of Russia, okay. Not that the people get to decide what country they're in. I mean, that would be like saying, well, southern Texas wants to be part of Mexico, so Mexico just automatically gets to take it. Or, it doesn't work that way. But, okay. So what are the Russians doing? Well, Russia is holding military drills nearby. No problem. Okay. Just yesterday you had Su-30s and Su-24 bombers from their Black Sea fleet, doing aerial refueling exercises over Crimea. Okay, that's great. They're allowed to. It's Crimea. I know, their territory. All right. So, this is when you get into all the crap that's told. I mean, for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, the Russians are on the Ukraine border. Blah 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 blah. They're ramping up. There are over 200,000 Russian troops on the Ukraine border. I want to give you this, all right? This is the facts as to where those 260 some odd thousand troops are right now. There's 122,000 located about 200 clicks away, which is about 125 miles, and 143,000 soldiers that are 400 kilometers away, or about 250 miles, okay? So think about this. This would be like Mexico screaming bloody murder that the U.S. have troops in, San Antonio and in Dallas. Just to give you an idea, guys, we have military troops in San Antonio. We have military troops in Dallas. Have for years, okay? It's not like Mexico's worried that we're coming across the border. Like I said, we've got troops in El Paso, which is right on the border. Mexico's not standing there with a bunch of military equipment waiting for the 3rd Armored Cav to come across the border. All right, just not happening. Okay, so this is where the propaganda crap is just being used to stoke fear. Now, why do I say I'd be happy to bet that it doesn't happen on Christmas? I don't know. Maybe that you have a quote coming out of somebody actually in power. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov came out yesterday and said, quote, "It is agreed at the very start of next year, bilateral contact between American negotiators and ours will become the first round of talks." Okay. So the Americans and the Russians, basically NATO and Russia, has already said, we're going to discuss what's going on after the new year. So for all these channels going, it's inevitable, we're going to war on Christmas and all this crap, tell them to go shove it up there. Yeah, okay. Guys, please, 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 when you see these stories, please do a little digging into it. They are strictly out there to cause fear. They are strictly out there to get clicks. And they are propaganda like crazy, both on the left and on the right, both in Russia and in the US. Okay? Do not understand, please, do not believe anybody on face value. On YouTube, in the media, in the alt media, anywhere. Okay? Go find the facts and see if the facts line up with what these people are trying to scare you with. You know, like I said, this is like Joy Reid dictating, foreign policy, all right? Or, AOC running the National Monetary Fund or International Monetary Fund. I mean, you got people that don't have a freaking clue what's going on making comments about things that they know nothing about. Now, obviously, I'm not a foreign policy maker or something like that either, but I do know to trust but verify, okay? And when you can find the facts or the quotes directly from somebody who is involved, that holds a little more weight. Okay? Like I said, if I was a betting man, okay? Could a Christmas invasion still happen? Sure. Okay? The odds of it? No. Okay? Is it possible? Yes. There's a big difference between possible and probable. What both sides are doing, and I think more of this is the NATO side than the Russian side. NATO is trying to goad Russia into doing something so they can come back and say, we're going to war, they started it. Just like the Democrats in the United States are trying to goad the conservatives into doing something. We're going to civil war, they started it. That's the logic. They don't want to start it on their own because they'll have no support. But if they're going in defense of something, then they can claim the high ground. Don't believe the bullshit, because 99.9% of the stuff ain't true. Have a nice Christmas. Don't worry about your tree starting to glow, other than from some lights that you have on it, and don't worry about having dinner in a fallout shelter somewhere. Okay? We ain't there, no matter what anybody else wants to say. Have a good Thursday. Pinball out.